Kind of. Yeah, we are. Hey, everybody.
There you go.
To tonight's Daytripper photo show. Phil was just here, not feeling too well, so he had to go. But
he's like Pokeroo. You just missed him.
Is that what Pokeroo does?
Yeah, you never saw what was that, Reading Rainbow or something like that?
Who are you talking to?
You're 3 years older than me.
I don't. Yeah, no. The answer to the question, no, I haven't seen that, and I should maybe look up on my Pokeroo references. So,
all right, get with it.
Until then, welcome, Gabriel. Welcome to the show this week.
Thanks for having me.
Always a pleasure. Now, for those of you watching at home, right now you see Gabe. You don't see me. When there's only two people in a hangout, then you're not going to see the other person at the same time at the bottom of the window. When there's three, you do. So just so you know,
wow.
Now you see me, and now you don't.
Thanks for ruining everything, Phil.
Anyway,
I feel sick.
He gave us his picks for his top three. Today's the photo review show. We're going to go into the photos for the challenge fantasy. Now, I was nervous when I first issued this challenge. I didn't expect to be when I thought of it. I thought it'd be a great idea. People can get funky and create these cool images. And as soon as I said fantasy, I looked at Gabriel, and his eyes started going up over to the right, and he started getting his little grin on his face, and I got a little nervous. But
and you had every right to be.
Gabe tried to make a photo for tonight's challenge. Didn't quite work out. But good effort there, buddy.
It was fun trying.
And we got a lot of great shots. So thank you, everybody who submitted photos for the Photo Challenge Fantasy. It was awesome. And yeah, so let's kind of get into it in just a second. We got some news. Sorry, I always get ahead of myself. First of all, we had last week off. So, Jennifer says she's only seeing a black screen. She refreshed the page, and it's still just black. Oh, well, we've got some other viewers. Maybe other folks can chime in and let us know if they can see what's going on or not. Hopefully you can, because there's not much we can do on this end other than just
say other viewers. Do you just mean your mom?
Quite possibly.
Okay.
Quite possibly. But that's okay. I love my mom. All right. In a whole different way. Anyway. You don't see. There we go. So... good evening, gentlemen. Video is fine for me, Christine says. Excellent. Thank you very much.
Okay.
And I'm not the one drinking whiskey. Weird.
Try rebooting.
Yes, try again. And Mark says he can see us. And Christine says video is fine for her. Excellent. Very cool. Thanks, everybody. Good. So we'll keep on going. We have some big news. We missed last week. Unfortunately, as things worked out, we couldn't make last week's show. So I apologize to everybody who had their hearts set on it, and we ruined your entire evening for not being on. Really apologize for that, because I know how that can happen. Right, Gabe? People can't see you. You have to say something for people to see you.
I'm looking awkwardly at the camera.
Anyway, okay, Andrew, thank you for watching, and he can see us both fine, too. Cool. I always love when people make a comment and they spell my name with a Y. I don't know, it's a little thing, but thank you for that.
Well, you know what? I always something's I don't know what it is. I always try to, but I do voice dictation a lot, and when you do voice dictation, it automatically spells it with an I. And 9 times out of 10, I will take the time to go back. It's like when I spell Jaden, which is my son's name, it always spells it without a Y. 9 times out of 10, I'll go back and I'll add the Y. And sometimes...
No, and that wasn't a dig at you. That really wasn't.
No, I'm just saying I get where you're coming from, and it's nice when they make the effort to spell it the right way.
I mean, I've never spelled your name with a Y. So...
And you know what? That has not gone unnoticed. So.
Okay, good. Jennifer says the video works now. Excellent to hear. Okay, so let's get back into this. Since we missed last week, we couldn't talk about our big news, Gabe. We had a freaking awesome grand opening for the studio.
Oh, yeah.
Talk about it, because I'm blown away.
Well, so in the morning, it was for the local vendors on the street, and in the afternoon, it was for the public. And in the morning, we were, when you throw a party, nobody comes. You know, it's not so much that you don't like the party, because with the 5 of us, it was still a great party. We just didn't want all the leftovers.
Yeah, exactly. Because we had lots of food.
We had lots of food. And
all very sweet food. It was all very not enough savory, but a lot of sweet. No, we had some pizzas. Thank you, Tony, for the pizzas.
Yes, thank you so much, Tony, for the two or three large pizzas, and then Shelly's sweets. Sweet Shelly's had a big platter there, and we had a whole bunch of amazing food from the Maid's Cottage and stuff, and the owners of the Maid's Cottage. Most of the vendors came by during the public viewing.
True.
Nobody came by during the vendor viewing. So we were a little bit nervous in the beginning. It's kind of like, nobody's showing up. But it's all right. It's only been 4 hours, And but my gosh, once the public viewing opened up, and from I think 2 till 6, we probably had 300 people come through that studio. I mean, it was the most hectic, amazing, brain-numbing, ongoing, consistent thing I've done in quite a while.
I agree. Well said. I was just so happy that my father showed up, my brother showed up, my sister showed up, and my dad, who's 80 years old, by the way, he climbed the stairs, came up there, happy as can be, loved it, thought it was a great time, saw him talking with a lot of the people in the community. That was really cool for me. And of course, Joseph Leduc, who is one of our partners, Shelly came up to him and had a whole conversation with him. And afterwards, he comes up to me. He's like, "Where's Shelly? I haven't talked to her. Isn't she going to come by?" And I'm like, "Dude, we spent like half an hour talking to her." But he was so pulled by all of his friends from the Camera Club. Richmond Hill Camera Club supported us huge.
Yeah.
The Newmarket Camera Club supported us, and it was amazing to see people coming. I mean, with canes, 80-plus-year-old gentlemen walking up the stairs with canes to get to see our studio. Thank you all. It was a lot of fun. We appreciate everybody who supported us. And
I just love the difference that like a 25-year-old will walk up the stairs and go, "Whoa, those are quite the stairs." And the 85-year-old with the cane walked up and he's like, "Where's the snacks?" Yes!
I know, right? Workers, hard workers. No, we had a great time. And thank you, everybody, who made the effort to come out to see us at the studio. We really appreciate it. We had a great time. There weren't as many leftovers as we thought we were going to have at one point, although I did get to bring home a cherry pie, which was very happy for me.
Nice.
Maid's Cottage pie. Very good. Andrew, actually, this is funny, Gabe. He says, so that would be something like Gabriel, Gaybryal, if we put the Y in your name. That could work.
Triangle L.
Okay.
And the Y is silent. It's Scandinavian.
All right. Other big news. We had a Birds of Prey session planned for this Sunday. We still do, but it's sold out. And you know what? This is one of the largest groups we're going to have at a Birds of Prey session. We have it at a new location. We're doing it in Bowmanville at the Ontario Falconry Centre's space. It's actually at a church area, and I believe it's in the parking lot, or not the parking lot, but the back area of a church. So there's lots of space to spread out. And the birds are going to be flying much greater flight paths, and I am very anxious and I'm excited about it. That's this Sunday, but we've just announced a second date. So if anybody wanted to register for this Sunday session but couldn't because it's sold out, you can do so. And the date is July 24th. I got all these dates in my head. So July 24th is the next available time if you want to register for Birds of Prey session. There have been some registrations already for it, so very cool.
Can I just say, I'm not going to be at this falconry session. I'm disappointed because I wish I was. We've got a family outing at Great Wolf Lodge planned. So on my primary TV in my living room, I've got a 60-inch TV, and I have a Google Chromecast hooked up to that. And for those of you that don't know what it is, just Google it. It's really awesome, and it's only $35. But what it will do is it will display your own photos from your Google Plus albums, but also, if you want, mix them in with National Geographic photos or photos from NASA. And so when I walk by, every time I walk by the TV, there's a different photo showing. And there's been photos that I walk by and I'm like, oh my God, that is an amazing picture of like an eagle, like really close up, amazing detail of an eagle or a falcon or an owl or something like that. And I look down in the corner, it's like taken by Gabriel Bousquet. I'm like, oh my God, I took that photo. Like the photos that you get of these birds at the falconry sessions, of birds in flight and birds still, and you can go right up to them with macro lenses. I have this one photo where I think it's an eagle eye, and it's like that big, and you can see the perfect reflection of me taking the photo in the eagle's eye. The photos that you get at these sessions are absolutely incredible. I mean, almost National Geographic-esque.
Yeah, it's true. And it's even better because we have Sigma lenses for everybody to use, so you can experiment. If you don't have a macro, you can try one. We have super telephotos, all the sport telephotos and regular telephotos that Sigma makes, so that adds to the experience. Ross Chevalier is going to be there to help instruct on this one, and hopefully our buddy Phil will be there as well, but he's going to let me know about that. That'd be very cool. But anyway, it's going to be a lot of fun, lots of people, and for the next one, hopefully Gabriel will be there.
Yeah, I'm hoping to, because I spend 95% of my time helping people get the pictures that they're looking for, and 5% of my time snapping a couple pictures for myself, and just the pictures I get out of that 5% are awesome. Amazing.
It's true. Some of my favorite photos. Okay, what else do we have? Oh, something that Gabriel is involved in, and I'm super excited about because this is going to be the first time we're doing it this way. The Daytripper Photo Wedding Photography Session on May 29th. This is going to be a second one we've done. We did one previously down in Toronto last year on literally the coldest day of the year. And, of course, I locked my keys in the van with the van running. But, yeah, that's me. That's how I roll. So this time we were going to run this at an off-site location, and we rented a space, and we were ready to go. And all of a sudden we got our studio. So we're actually changing our plans up, and we're having the wedding session at the studio. It's the best possible environment for it. It's going to be controlled, lots of parking for anybody who needs it, and I just can't wait. So, Gabe, what's so special and different about this wedding session from the previous one?
Well, I mean, both Navi and I have grown a lot as wedding photographers. We've got a lot of new experiences. There's a lot of new trends. I mean, the wedding industry is something that changes, on a season by season, but seemingly ongoing basis. And so there's a lot of new trends and a lot of new ways. There's been a huge push towards albums and stuff nowadays, where before a lot of the wedding industry was shoot and share, digital distribution and stuff. And there still is that. That's sort of the way to, get your photos out to people quickly. There's a lot of new social media trends and stuff that wedding photographers have to keep up on. But there's been a real push towards albums again, which we haven't seen in many years. So we're going to be covering a lot of that, how to sell albums to clients, not just to make money, but because, in all honesty, it's in their best interest to get wedding albums. We'll explain why. And we're going to have models, and we're going to have all sorts of amazing stuff. I'm really looking forward to it. They're
always good. Last one, I think it was a game changer for many of the people who came to the session, many of which are watching our show right now. And there's lots of really cool people that have been on this session. But you got to register for it. It's coming up pretty soon. So if you're interested, go to www.daytripperphoto.com to find out more information about that. And by the way, it's not just Gabriel and myself. It's Navi Noom. Navi and Gabriel, this is their session. This is a masterclass session for these guys. And I'm just there to help. I'm just there as your voice-activated light stand, so to speak. Yes. So just nodding. No sounds. It wasn't going to. Okay. Now, there's a little bit more information. I was going to get into this whole new. You guys know I have the Everyday Messenger bag from Peak Design. This thing, absolutely the best bag I've ever had.
Jelly.
Oh, it's just so nice. You should be. Anyway, I wear this thing everywhere, and since I've had it a few months now, it just gets better and better every time I use it. So what I'm excited about is they've just come out with a smaller version. So for those of you who use iPads, not computers, there's now a second version of the Everyday Messenger, which is, I don't know, called the smaller Everyday Messenger? I don't know. But it's going to be very cool and something that people might want to check out.
What if you use an iPad Pro 13-inch like I do?
Yeah, that would work perfectly for that.
Yeah?
Sure.
All right.
I'm pretty sure that's exactly what it's built for. Don Hennessy is watching. Good day to you, sir. Greetings. I hope everyone's keeping well. We are. Phil isn't, unfortunately. That's why he's not here right now. But hopefully he'll feel better soon, too. Sorry, distracted, of course. The cat just comes in the room. And every time she comes in the room during the show, I start to panic.
She's going to drop one.
Oh, man, and she does. Anyway, she left, so I'm safe. All right, next week's show. I'm excited about this one. We're doing a special show. This is a tips and techniques show coming up next week, and we're doing it on tripods. A lot of people, we've done a show before on tripods. A lot of people have a lot of interest in the differences between tripods, and I talk about this every day at work at Henry's Newmarket, by the way. I've had conversation with our reps from Gitzo, and we were actually going to ask them to be on the show. These are reps from the distributor Gentech, which I love. Gentech gets us all of our Sigma lenses for our day trips, and helps Daytripper Photo exponentially, and has since 2008 when we started. So much love for Gentech, but unfortunately, there's no manpower to come on our show from them. So what they've done is they've supplied me with a Gitzo catalog. And it's not just their products, but all the technology that goes into how they're built and the differences between Gitzo and some other brands. Now, I've known this for a while. I'm a big Gitzo fan. I own Gitzo tripod and monopod, and I absolutely can't say enough about them. But the technology that goes into the differences is what makes this show good. It's what is going to make this show different. We're going to go into some of the differences, talk about some torsional rigidity, talk about some technology that makes the difference between a good tripod and something that you're going to love and keep forever. So if you're interested, check out next week's show. That'll be, actually, not next week, because next week is the Vaughn Film Festival, and we're busy. We gone. Right, Gabe?
So we're taking a vacation next week?
Yes.
Okay.
I'll be shooting the Vaughn Film Festival. We'll have lots of stuff going on as far as that goes. Thursday night is the Vaughn Film Festival big gala awards dinner, which Gabriel is absolutely helping me shoot. I say absolutely as if I'm sure of that.
He says mildly threateningly.
Yes. Your video is not showing for me, Gabe. I don't know if it's
okay, give me 1 second.
Okay. All right. So very excited about that, the Vaughn Film Festival. And if you guys want, actually, I just shared a post on Facebook for this because I love this festival. You guys have seen on our show in the past 2 times, in the past 2 years, the guys, Mark and Antonio from the Vaughn Film Festival, have been our guests on the show. We didn't do it this year because we've already talked about all that stuff. And I just could talk about it myself and tell you, check out the Vaughn Film Festival. It's from Monday to Thursday. Monday is a screening day, so you can actually go check out all of the international short films that they've accepted this year. And last year they had a short film that won an Oscar but did not win at the Vaughn Film Festival. It's a very, very discerning show. These guys are very picky about the shows that they pick and the movies they pick, and they're all good and interesting. Last year I literally cried while watching one. I had to pick up the phone and call Shelly and tell her I loved her literally during the show because it was so good and powerful. So there's some great stuff. Check it out. Monday and Wednesday is actually the screenings for the festival. Tuesday is they do a show, like a training seminar, which is really cool. Last year they did zombie makeup, which was fun. Of course, I'm into that, right?
Yeah, right up your valley, right?
Yep. Joe LeDuc and I shot that. It was a lot of fun. And, of course, the big grand party is the awards show is on Thursday, which I don't know if everybody's able to go to that. If you did, there's tickets you can buy. I'm pretty sure you can buy tickets for it. Actually, I'm positive you can. So check it out. We'll be there, and we're going to have a great time. So not next week, but the week after is when we're doing the tripod show. And that's all. Let's get to the meat and potatoes.
All right.
Did I really just say that? That came out just that way. It's pretty cool. Reminders, if you haven't joined the Daytripper Photo community on Google+, please do so. There's a lot of cool stuff that we do on there. We announce the show there. We talk about all the photos there. That's where we share the photos. That's where we answer all the questions day in and day out. It's a blast. One of the few things, apparently, that people use Google+ for now. Isn't that right, Gabriel?
Yeah, we were just I've been looking more and more into the statistics for social media, and especially with the opening of the loft, you want to find out where you want to divert most of your energy. And as much as I love Google Plus and I love the look of it and the functionality of it and the format of it, It's just an abandoned. Yeah.
It's very sad, very sad. But anyway, we're still doing our show here, and we love it.
Yeah.
And it's the community is fantastic. So check that out, please, guys. Also, if you're watching the show after the fact on YouTube, click the little like button. Let us know that you do enjoy the show. Whether you do or not, just tell us that you do. And yeah, that'll be great. Also, subscribe to our channel. Tell your friends. Tell your neighbors. Tell people you don't like, because they probably like photography too. And yeah, tell the world. Tell the world, Mom. And also remember to join in the Q&A. A lot of you have already done that. Thank you so much for doing so. Veronique, hello to you. Vero's been at a lot of our sessions lately and does a great job. You know, the portrait session was such a hit, the last one that we just did with Navi. The photos I've seen have just totally blown me away.
Oh, man. They're incredible.
Sometimes I look back at these images that the clients make on our day trips, and I just think, that happened on my day trip. Like, that is so cool. Anyway, I'm squirreling here a little bit. One last thing before we start the show. Thank you very much to our sponsors, Sennheiser and LensPen, for helping us out day in and day out with our show. You guys, without you guys, we wouldn't have cool stuff, and we wouldn't be able to talk about this cool stuff. So appreciate it. And check out LensPen product. I mean, we talk about it all the time. I still can't believe the comment that somebody made on our wall the other day about LensPen, how it's just a tool for people to make more commission. Blow my mind. I mean,
well, yeah, it's a, you know, I mean, I don't have the relationship with LensPen that Bryan does. I don't have the history with the sales rep and stuff like that. But I'll tell you, like, when I'm in the field and I'm shooting a wedding, or I'm literally in the field shooting white owls, or I'm, you know, somewhere and my gear gets dirty, the best tool for cleaning it is the LensPen. I mean, I'm always digging through my gear looking for the LensPen. So it's like, oh, you're right. It is a tool for making more commission. It is a unbelievably useful tool that every photographer will thank the salesman for upselling them on for making extra commission.
Yeah, that penny goes a long way. But, you know, it's okay.
It's a great tool.
It is a great tool.
I don't work retail. I don't get any kickbacks or anything like that. I use it all the time, and I swear by it.
Yeah, and it makes your photos sharper. If you got a smudge, clean it.
Yeah.
Anyway, cool. Let's talk about some stuff. Let's look at some pictures. How about that?
Let's do that.
So the photo review for Fantasy. And there were some cool shots. There were some really interesting photos created here. Would you like to do a screen share, or would you like me to?
I'll do a screen share.
Sounds good. And if anybody wants to follow along, because obviously watching the show on the computer screen that you're looking at right now may not be as good as looking at it on your home computer. So all these photos are on the Google Plus community, on Google Daytripper photo community on Google Plus. And all you have to do to see them all in order is scroll down to the subheading, choose Weekly Photo Challenge, and scroll to the first photo that you see that applies to Fantasy, which this week is actually Christine Smalls, I believe.
All right. Give me a second. Oh, right. Sorry. I've got my... I was trying to find my Hangout window, but I forgot that it's on my iPad Pro. Let me see here.
Oh, it's on my iPad Pro.
Oh.
It's just an iPad Pro.
It's just the iPad Pro 13-inch, you know.
That's how I roll.
Nothing much. It's just, you know, completely awesome.
It's pretty awesome.
It is what it is.
Okay, so yeah, point stays the same. If you want to see these photos, go to your own computer and scroll along with us. We're going to do a screen share here and, of course, show you all the photos on the screen and give you our opinions. Now, a photo review, the way we do it at least, isn't to say you suck, you're awesome. That's not how we roll. Your photos are for you, and we believe that. What we're trying to do is give some constructive criticism to maybe point out something that you hadn't noticed before that might open a different door for you to travel down in the world of photography. There's a lot of different things that you can do, and everybody has their own interpretation. Gabriel, you know what? You say it best, so why don't you say the famous quote?
Oh, if you agree with us, you are right. If you disagree with us, you are right.
Exactly. Can't get any better than that. Makes sense. All right, so where are we? We are Christine Small.
Christine Small is the first.
I believe. Oh wait, no, Rosemary's lower on yours. So
this one here.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Okay. So, let's start with this.
All right. First of all, I'm not laughing here. I'm a little. Okay. A couple weeks ago, we had a photo that I believe Jackson submitted that was skulls and bones of a child in Cuba, and I was a little bit just like, why are you sharing bones of a child? It's not. My brain can't take that. So this week, Rosemary says, here's one for fantasy. Let yours go and see what you see in this picture. Mine was a bird's head in the ice. The water was still frozen around it. Mine is pretty much the same. And as Phil said, what did he say? It's a disembodied bird?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't really know how I feel about that. What do you think, Gabriel?
Personally, I think it's a tree stump.
Let's go with that. I think I prefer that.
We're gonna go with that. It is an unsettling picture to be sure, because on first glance, it does look like something organic that has come to an untimely end. And then on second glance, it just looks like something very confusing.
Huh.
So
actually, I'm reading the comments in the post, and eventually here, a couple comments later, Rosemary says she found out that this is the leftover from a deer the wolves killed as the lake was frozen.
Okay. And for anybody that can identify exactly what part of the deer that is, you get 2 extra Daytripper photo points.
Yeah, because it's funny. Jan says right below it that deer hair isn't that long. So I don't know.
Oh, that's true. Actually, deer hair is not that long.
So for a photo to create discussion, this is a great success. Now, compositionally, exposure, and all of that kind of jazz. What do you think of that?
Dead center is deadly. But because of the surrounding area, there's not a lot of, the rule of thirds wouldn't really come into play on this photo because there's not a lot around it that you could play off of.
Yeah.
I would say it's probably, I don't know, it's hard to say. Like, it's probably not a pit. I want to say it's probably not a picture I would have taken, but then you know what? You see a weird thing in the middle of the ice like that, it's probably a picture I would have taken.
That's a good point. That's a really valid point. I mean, sometimes you see something just so different, you have to snap it. And for the theme fantasy, I mean, that's technically what the whole point is, I guess. Create your own imagination and so on. Compositionally, I'm not a big fan of the shot. I think it's more of a snapshot than it is a piece of art you put on your wall. But again, I think that was the intent.
Yeah, that's what this is not going on any wall.
No, but again, I think that was the intent, right?
But yeah,
so that's fine.
It doesn't have to be a wall picture for you to click it every time.
Sure, exactly. And when the photo challenge is fantasy, Oh yeah, Jennifer says that would be a great photo for what the bleep is this? We used to do.
There you go.
What the bleep is that?
Yeah, but the problem with what the bleep is that you have to know the answer.
Good point. Good point. You got it there. All right. Well, thank you, Rosemary, for submitting it, and it was good conversation, and we really appreciate you sharing this with us.
Yeah.
Why don't we check out Christine's now? I keep on saying Christine. It's like I love it or something.
The meaning of fantasy is imagining the impossible. Maybe someday this little girl will be able to play professionally.
And that story is beautiful. And the photo itself is really nice as well. Like, now here you talk about center is deadly. Here I think it really works.
Yeah. There's the center is deadly rule, and then there's the rules are made to be broken rule, right? So sometimes it definitely works, and in this photo it definitely works.
So what was really cool about this, Phil and Christine know each other, and Phil suggested something that the saturation was quite high on the shot, and looking at it I kind of agree, the saturation is quite high, but it's also it works to me, the contrast of blue and green. Just
yeah, it's high key.
Yeah, exactly. It is pretty high key. There's not a lot of black in it, except for a bit in the jersey there. But I think the story wins over in this, and is it showing that it is in a ballpark and it's nice and level. And I mean, the only time that the saturation kind of irritates me a little bit is along the grass line at the top.
Right. So
I'm moving my mouse there, like you can see it.
So along here. So it's two things. It's high key, but it's contrasty. And you don't usually have the two of them together. You usually have high key and overblown, or low key and contrasty.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So in that respect, it's a little overpowering. Like the green is just a little too green. Usually, like when I shoot a wedding that's very high key, it's also very washed out. It's not pastel-y, or bold like that. So it's, so I can definitely see that point of view.
So it is bright, and I think Jennifer's point that the highlights could be brought down a little bit is pretty valid.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't mind the saturation, except for that grass line, which I think, just a little bit less, and it would be a different thing. But I think the point of the highlights, that's a valid point, because that's where the high key effect is coming from.
Right.
But beautiful shot, great story, and now I'm curious. I think we should revisit this in 15 years and see if, the kid plays ball.
It'd be interesting. I was reading an essay the other day on female sports and how female sports on an international scale overperforms in Canada. The female teams overperform the male teams, but only get a fraction of the pay.
Mm.
So hopefully by the time this child grows up, that will have changed.
True. That's what I wanted to hear. I was waiting for that. See, I watch wrestling, and the same thing happens there. The male wrestlers make the lion's share, and the female wrestlers don't really get that notoriety, but that's starting to change. And
right.
The female athlete is taken more seriously, and that's great to see because, like you say, I mean, I'm not going to say they're always working harder, but yeah, makes sense.
Think Ronda Rousey has a lot to do with that?
I think, a lot of women have a lot to do with that. The Muhammad Ali's daughter, and I mean, there's been some amazing female talents that have just dominated. And yeah, Ronda Rousey, sure, she's amazing. She was on wrestling too, actually.
Oh yeah,
yeah, just a little while ago at WrestleMania, I think. She was there with The Rock, and they almost beat up Stephanie McMahon. It was pretty cool. Nice. So Christine says, good points, guys. Thanks. You're very welcome. And it was hard to edit as my computer screen broke, so I had to resort to using the TV as a monitor.
Okay. If you think that computer screens are badly calibrated, TVs are even worse.
True. It's like, posting a photo on Instagram and actually expecting it to look the same as you when you share it. That's my comparison. On my phone, you think it looks all great when you're editing it, and then you share it on Instagram or you share it on Facebook, and it just looks
right. Oh yeah, got you. Yeah, I understand that.
All right, next photo.
Taylor?
Sure.
My photo submission for fantasy. Let your imagination create a fantasy.
Now that's kind of cool. I love fire photos in general because there's always something neat to see. And if you look right down the center and you see through all the flame, right in the very middle, right in the back, on the bottom, it looks like there's a ghost coming up out of the smoke. Yeah, you see it. It looks like the ghost face from Scream or something. And that makes me happy.
All I know is that somewhere around here, unscathed and untouched, is Khaleesi, Queen of Dragons. And she's coming out to kick some butt.
There you go. That must be a video game reference that I just don't get. But
no, dude, you don't know Game of Thrones?
Oh, Game of Thrones? No, I don't really know Game of Thrones.
Dude! Oh, I have failed you as a friend.
I'm sorry, I watch too much WWE Network.
Well, Game of Thrones is kind of like WWE, just with lots more other stuff.
I heard a word you were thinking. Okay.
I will introduce you to that.
Okay, well, I'll be introduced. That's fine. Christine, actually, she says she was too excited about the photo not to try and edit. It meant a lot to me, and I appreciate that, and it still should mean a lot. I mean, it was a really cool shot, compositionally well done, and it's just a matter of pulling back your saturation a little bit.
And also, thought that I had earlier that I forgot to say, kudos for, my computer screen broke. What other screen do I have that I can edit on?
Mm-hmm.
Like kudos for bringing it over to the TV and hooking it up to there. That's good thinking and shows some determination.
Good point. Jennifer says, there's an actual person who doesn't watch Game of Thrones. I thought that was a myth. Yeah, it's very much like I never watched Lost.
I never watched a single episode of Lost, and when I heard
not a single one,
I was glad that I did.
And I really am not upset about that at all. No.
But dude, Game of Thrones is like, dude.
All right. Well, Taylor, I wonder if you had anything to do when you thought about this. If you thought about the Game of Thrones also, I didn't. I just saw Ghost from Scream,
or Entrance to Hell, or not to be glib or not to be making jokes, but at this point in time, Alberta.
Oh my God!
Right? Everything that's going on
Too soon.
No, it's not. It's not a joke. It reminds me of the devastation there, and you see a lot of the photos coming out of there, and they don't look too different than that. Well, right. So the nice thing about a fantasy photo is that it can leave your imagination open to add 4 or 5 different interpretations to it.
That's a good point too. 4 or 5 different interpretations, and because when I look at this picture, I actually see 4, maybe 3 different photos in one shot, and that's a bit confusing to a viewer when you're looking around in the shot and you're trying to look for specific things, but there's all these other things going on. It's hard to focus on a specific thing. So if I could give a suggestion compositionally on a shot like this, Gabriel, I don't know if you can just zoom in a little bit.
You know what? Everybody else can zoom, but for some reason, I seem to have, I don't know, I can't zoom.
Huh. That is very strange, because I'm thinking that little bit on the right side. Don't report abuse. There's no abuse. I'll do a screen share, and I'll just show what I'm talking about.
Okay.
This should work, hopefully. Okay. So you see how I've got it cropped in? There's the original. I don't know if it's refreshed. Okay. So if I crop in just a bit and you focus over here on this little bit, a totally different photo. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Now, that's just a suggestion. That's all it is a suggestion. But if we're looking at the overall image, there's a lot going on over here. You can focus in on this little bit over here if you want to. There's always something neat, like just over on that side. But there's so much going on. Even just the embers at the front would be a different picture. Now, if you look really close at that, sharpness really isn't until the ghost. So it looks like that was the story being told.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? So that's where I would probably focus, because I think that ghost is pretty sweet.
And it is, it's very symmetrical. It was a great capture at that, at that one moment. It does,
So Jennifer says, this fire photo is badass. I would edit out the 2 little horns, sticks, near the top of the ghost face, though. They're a bit distracting. So, yeah, that makes sense. Or embrace the sticks. Make them bigger horns.
Embrace the horns.
Embrace the horn. Which is something I was actually thinking I was going to get from the fantasy challenge, but whatever. different story again.
I tried.
Jason, I know. Jason says, if you look closely, you can see a face in the smoke, and that's what we're talking about. I agree with that 100%. Yeah. It's very cool.
There's 3 photos in that one photo.
Yeah, and that's the cool thing I like about photography, is that you can find different things in it, but the key is to remember your viewer and what they're, the key isn't to remember your viewer. You're taking pictures for yourself. But if you're thinking about the viewer and you want to make it easily digestible, try and get rid of the stuff that doesn't need to be there.
I think, I think you can take a picture that will be popular but doesn't quite move you. And then you can take a picture that moves you and won't be very popular. But you know what? A lot of the pictures that moved me and I knew wouldn't be very popular became incredibly popular.
It's true, eh? It's funny how that works.
Yeah, or like I'll share 5 photos from a night out, and the one that I like the least, I'll put up, and that one gets 7,000 likes, and the one that I like the most gets 15.
Hey, Gabriel, you know who likes selective color?
Customers.
Everyone. You know who doesn't like selective color?
Photographers. I know, right?
Right? So you just don't know what people are going to like or not. Christine says, didn't see the ghost until just now. Campfire is my favorite smell, so this picture makes me happy. It's so funny you say that, because campfire is my favorite smell too.
Oh, man. Campfire is my favorite smell as well. The problem with knowing things is that it ruins life. And all the studies that have come out now about how carcinogenic campfires are, and then I'm like, that's got to be BS. I mean, but it was multiple studies, and I spoke to a friend of mine who's a firefighter, and he will not let his kids sit around a campfire.
Huh.
Like, it is so carcinogenic, and we're going camping 3 times this year, and I'm like, oh God, I so want to let my kids sit around the campfire. Jaden, and we're going with 3 with another family that has 3 girls, right? It's like I so want to let them sit around campfire and toast marshmallows and stuff.
Dude, you are a real downer.
I know, but campfires are awesome, but they're also crazy carcinogenic.
Well, now I'm freaked out because the campfires I do in my backyard is with patchwood. Wood from the patch.
Right, yeah.
Covered in raccoon poop and all kinds of other nastiness. Yeah, so that's probably not good. Anyway, Taylor says the ghost face showed up in 3 different photos and kind of freaked me out. Haha. Game of Thrones is awesome. Please don't watch Lost. I did. It was horrible.
It's funny. I introduced my wife to Game of Thrones the other day with season 3, episode 2. It was the very first one that she's ever seen. And she got about 20 minutes into it, and she looked at me and she goes, so is there anybody that doesn't like Game of Thrones? And I'm like, no, I don't think that person actually exists. Like, she's going to go back and watch season 1 and 2 and get caught up, and she was just enamored with it.
Well, I was the same with Sons of Anarchy. I didn't watch it at all. And then all of a sudden, Shelly and I started watching it, and we just power watched the entire thing. So yeah. I'm thinking I might do the same with Game of Thrones. Just wait for it to be out on DVD as a box set once it's over, and I just power my way through it and enjoy it all that way.
There you go.
There you go. All right, let's go back to the photos, because we ain't got all night.
We got 15 minutes left. So
we've got
next photo is we got Blake Zimmerman, who submitted about 1,600 photos. I think we'll focus on one of them.
I'm sorry. Christine says, geez, thanks, Gabriel. Debbie Downer. You're awesome. You are awesome.
Well, to be fair, my friend that's a firefighter does have a fire pit in his backyard. So, maybe just...
Gabe, I talked to you about this earlier. We're all dying every day. Whatever. Just eat what you want to eat and sit by campfire, even with patchwood.
Don't do that. Work out, eat healthy, do everything that you can do to make your life last longer.
Daytripper Photo does not endorse all things said on the show.
By Bryan.
By Bryan, especially. Okay, so Blake, you guys know Blake. Blake's one of our best friends. Dude's awesome. He has ventured off into a completely different realm of photography since I first met Blake, and I love it. And he's seeing stories and everything, and he's telling stories, not just creating images. And I give Blake a lot of respect for that. He had 3 photos that he submitted for our challenge here, and I think the one that you have up there, Gabriel, is the one that we were focusing on. The first one was a picture of Lena, who's also a friend of ours. She was a guest on our show once. A picture of like Red Riding Hood by the water, but there's no red; it's black and white. Not that we're getting into a whole conversation about it, but I don't know. It's implied red, and I guess that's an interesting thing as well. And the next one he has
to fantasize the red.
That's
that's just like how Imagine Dragons songs don't have any dragons. You have to imagine them.
Huh? Now I'm confused.
All right. How are you only 3 years older than me?
I know. I'm like 200 years.
So detached. I know. You're like, yeah, you're exactly. Okay. All right.
It's kind of weird. On the picture. Yeah, let's focus on Blake's photo. Okay, so this shot, I love this. Blake, when we went one day, we went to our buddy Hark's house, and Ron Clifford was there. A bunch of folks were there. And Blake pulled out this thing that he had in his freezer, this orb of ice. He has a mold that he puts the water in and creates an orb, which I think possibly is what this is. Either that or it's an actual orb. But very neat effect you get when you look through these things. Everything's upside down, and you get all these textures and interesting shapes and patterns of what's reflected through it. So I think this is a really cool shot. Very interesting to look at. What do you think?
Yeah, and it I agree. And looking at that reminds me, I don't know how old Blake is, but
a few years younger than us. Around our age, around your age. Your age.
Reminds me of Labyrinth a lot. Which is my wife's like favorite movie in the entire world. Which actually I should make a note of that. Buy her something Labyrinth related. But
I know somebody who works at a movie store, by the way.
A what?
A movie store.
A movie? Oh, like iTunes.
Oh no, like Cinema One in Barrie. This awesome place where you can buy all kinds of movies and get all kinds of TV series. And
buy
all
movies
kinds of
like iTunes.
No, you can't get cool shows like The Greatest American Hero on iTunes, can you? No, I don't think so.
Gotcha. I mean, if you believe it or not, I am talking on air.
Nice. Nice. Sorry, Blake. We keep on scrolling away from your photo.
Yeah, we're totally scrolling. I love the photo. It's very, very fantasy. And like I said, Labyrinth, reminds me of Labyrinth, which is a great fantasy movie.
I love what it's sitting on. It looks like it's just being held up by a little shard of rock or something. And it's just neat the way he has the sharpness layered, like blurry right in the front, and then a little layer of sharpness, and then the ball perfectly sharp. Kind of cool. Is that it? Gabriel?
Yeah, sorry, I'm just writing a note to buy Trish the Labyrinth movie.
Oh, that's awesome. Make sure you buy it on iTunes, though, because apparently you don't want to support stores and stuff, but whatever.
Physical brick and mortar stores?
I know, right? Who'd have thunk it?
So weird. All right, sorry. The only thing I would say with this is maybe the forest scene inside the globe, if it was a little bit more contrasty than the scene outside of the globe, maybe it would kind of have a little bit more impact.
Interesting.
But I could be wrong, but that's my only, my only thought with that is that it kind of the whole photo, well, good, is also a little bit flat.
You mean flat as in shallow depth of field flat?
No, flat as in it's all sort of the same tone. Flat, right? So if you were to say take an adjustment brush in Lightroom and make that a little bit more contrasty in Lightroom and make the middle here sort of pop a little bit more, then it might be a little bit more impactful. But that's kind of my head, find a flaw sort of thing. That's the only thing I could come up with.
Well, that's a good way to say it. I'm kind of looking at it now, and you can see a very clear log going up, and you can see the tree line, and I'm digging it. And it really is starting to remind me of the galaxy is in Orion's belt. Remember that from Men in Black?
Men in Black, yeah, the galaxy is on Orion's belt, yeah.
There's so much going on inside that little space, and you don't have to look around for it. It's all right there. I find that really interesting. Anyway, very cool shot, Blake. Thanks for sharing it with us. And thanks for contributing in our challenges, dude. Very cool. Don Hennessy says, as said on Third Rock from the Sun, if you live unhealthy, it will knock 10 years off your life. But the last 10 years are no fun anyway. I'm with Don on it. I like it.
That.
Is contrasty actually a word?
Contrasty? It is now.
It is now. It's official.
It was said on Daytripper. I mean, it's on the internets.
So it's got to be real.
You know, texting or what was it? Selfie made its way into the Webster's dictionary.
Yes.
And it's on the internets. So
but I'm pretty sure contrasty is a word anyway. It's like an adjective.
No.
Stuff.
No, I created it.
Okay. Anywho, let's check out Jackson's photo.
There's something fantastic in that fog.
Now, this reminds me of Calgary.
Dude.
Now, I'm not saying it in a negative way because you know for a fact that there's photographers all over the world wanting to get up there and take photos of that going on right now.
I was reading on the Chives today this one guy who escaped the fires there and got back to his home in like somewhere in the States to find out that his house had burnt down.
Oh, that's not cool.
No, it's not cool at all.
I mean, that's like Death Wish or something. That's not cool. Final Destination stuff going on.
Yeah.
But this shot here, I mean, now looking at it on my screen for the screen share, it looks really kind of chunky.
It is chunky.
On my computer, it is too.
Yeah, it's so if I go here to the details, it's ISO 3200.
When there's your chunky, right? D90 at 3200 ISO, you're going to get that noise coming through.
Okay. Also, yeah, I don't know much about the D90. It's f7.1. So what is this? I mean, this is 44 millimeter. You think that they'd definitely be able to open it up more than 7.1?
Well, I think this is a choice of going for mood, and there's definitely mood going on here.
Yeah, that's true. It's like the old Dracula movies.
Mm-hmm. Now, there's a lot of blowout though, and red is a really hard color to shoot. If you don't adjust your exposure just right, you have too long or too short of an exposure, then you get this kind of blowout with red. I remember one of our viewers, Julie, had made a photo previously with red flower, and she was asking about color saturation, and that's what made me key into reds being oversaturated very easily. And you can kind of see that here, but again, it could just be for the effect. It could have been bumped up saturation in post to get more of that out of the shot. I don't know.
Yeah.
As far as overall composition, it's tough with just a bunch of trees, but I get the mood. And
yeah,
that's
no,
what I appreciate.
Absolutely. The mood totally comes across. Are those going away from the photo and onto the technical side? Are those blown pixels that I'm seeing?
I was wondering that. I didn't see it on the screen that you're sharing, but I was looking at it, and it kind of looks like that, doesn't it?
Is that something if it's still under warranty, that's covered under warranty or something? Because I remember my 7D had that for a while, and then they went away. But
yeah, you might have to do a pixel reset. Some cameras give that option of
that's what I did.
But it also could just be created in post. Like it could have just been by bumping up so much it got those little. It's hard to say. We have to get an expert in sensor technology and stuff to answer that one.
Your photo fills me with fantasy and also concern for your sensor.
Yes. Jackson, bring it to me. Let me have a look at it, buddy. Jennifer says, I have to tone down the reds in photos more than any other color when I'm editing for sure. I agree with that. Reds are tough to control.
Yeah. Yeah, they really are. Well, that's why they used to have the saturation slider, and they created the vibrant slider as well, because saturation adjusts reds and another color, whereas vibrance adjusts two other colors that aren't as overpowering.
Right. Okay, the next photo we have here is Ashley Ann's photo, and now technically this photo was taken before the photo challenge. So as she says it, she said right in her own comments, she knows that it has to be current photos, and she's not in it to win it or anything. She just wanted to share it, and I appreciate that. It's a beautiful photo.
Beautiful.
The detail is fantastic, and the exposure is bang on, up above the clouds. I mean, could you imagine being in this place?
I've been in that place. When I was young, I did many mountain climbing excursions in British Columbia on the Rocky Mountains. And I mean, probably not the exact same ridge, but I've seen very similar views. And it's one of those things that when people say, oh, you know, when pictures of the Grand Canyon don't do it justice, and then you go to the Grand Canyon, you're like, oh my God, they really don't do it justice. This photo, as powerful as it is, probably does not do the actual scene justice at all.
And yet, in that same breath, I'm looking at it just like, holy cow. I mean, you zoom into it closer, which I know you can't do, but I'm doing, and you can see all the layers of snow looking like they're draping right off the whole side of the mountain. It looks like there's avalanche after avalanche happening, and it's really cool.
Yeah.
But since it doesn't apply, let's move along in the interest of time and such.
All right.
And don't forget, guys, if you're watching, feel free to join in the Q&A. Give us your opinions of the photos that you see, and let us know what you think. So here's one from Charity.
Charity, Little Red Riding Hood, very famous fairy tale, and one my daughter loves. We decided to venture into the York Regional Forest and do a photo shoot based on this story before I even knew about this photo challenge.
Cool.
So does this is May 7th, does that qualify?
Sure.
All right.
Absolutely it does. Now, I kind of made a reference to Blake's photo earlier about the Little Red Riding Hood not in red. How do you feel about that? Is that something I should even think about? Because, like, should we be – it's fantasy. I get it. But wouldn't the red be kind of essential for a Red Riding Hood photo?
Okay, so I can't do that, actually. I was gonna just bring it in, do a little bit of selective editing. So what I would say with a photo like this, because the red is kind of crucial to the photo.
Mm-hmm.
So there's the selective color, right, where everything's in black and white except for the red of the outfit. But what I would say is make everything in black and white, but bring the red of the outfit up 5%. So it's just a hint, a tiny, tiny, tiny hint of red. And that way it's not overpowering the photo.
The story is great. And as Christine says, she loved this interpretation of fantasy, and I do too. There's just two factors, or three actually, in the photo that I would suggest on improvement. I think Gabriel's point about the color, I think that'd be really neat to see. And also, you can see she's looking off and up to the right of our photo, right? I would love to see a little more space there, just to have her looking off into the shot. Okay. There's a little bit more forest instead of having her dead center in the center of the tree behind her with space on either side. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
It's funny. Jen just says, no, selective color shields eyes. And I literally just gave a reference that we hate selective color. And then Gabriel gives the advice of bumping up just the reds. I don't know if I would go to the extreme of a selective color, but I think the reds should be in the story. That's just so yeah.
Well, I mean, when it's Little Red Riding Hood.
Yeah.
You know.
Like, I'm little red moosey guy, and if you didn't see my red shirt, then that just wouldn't be the same me.
Absolutely.
Also, the only other thing, the third thing that I kind of red flag myself with is the reverse vignette around the edge. How do you feel about that?
I have only in my professional photographic career found 4 or 5 photos that are enhanced by a reversed vignette.
I've only made one that I actually enjoyed with a reverse vignette, and that was because it was snow on the outside, and it was a bunch of guys walking away from being rejected, going into an abandoned military base. So
okay.
It showed the wear and the tiredness of it and so on. But yeah, I agree. Sorry, go ahead.
I think this would have benefited from a normal vignette, and it would have probably drawn more attention into the center of the photo.
Right. Jen says that there is this tiny sliver of light on the tree, but I think that should be taken out just above her head there.
Yeah. It could be a little distracting, yeah. I can see that.
Again, the eye is drawn to contrast, so it would pull us away. And she agrees with me that a little bit more on the left of the frame or something. Yeah. Well, it's a suggestion. Charity says she will post another one just for fun, which I think would be cool to see as well. See a different interpretation of the photo. But I love the story, and that's really what we're trying to get across. It's a beautiful story for fantasy, and the fact that you went out there to make the shot and to get it and to, with your daughter. And I love the detail of the book in her basket, the trails that you can read there. Again, it's all part of the story. So thank you so much, Charity.
Here's what I would say. If you use Lightroom, put that photo in the develop module, and on the top toolbar line where you have like the crop overlay and the spot removal and stuff, there's a tool that doesn't get used a lot by a lot of people called radial filter. Radial filters right next to the adjustment brush, adjustment brush. Click on that and draw a circle around the center. And what that will do is it will enhance the exposure on the middle of the image while keeping everything else the same. And I think that would probably make a huge difference on that image.
Good advice. Awesome. All right, so let's move along to the next one.
Let's do that.
Jen, while we're doing that, Jen says, when we went to Banff, she got so frustrated that she couldn't take photos that truly showed how awesome the scenery was. The photos just didn't do any justice to the mountains at all, and she thought it was just her. No, it's not just you. It's virtually everybody except for the rare few.
Yeah, when I did all my mountain climbing, I did it with a company called Duco, which is kind of like Outward Bounds, but just a different company. And I did mountain climbing 3 years in a row, and it's real serious mountains. And I wasn't into photography back then. Digital photography wasn't a thing. I never thought about disposable cameras, but my gosh, like I can still close my eyes and see the scenery that I saw on those mountain ridges like clear as day. And I wish I had a camera back then, but I also know that the camera wouldn't have done the scenery justice.
Yeah, that's where we need those new cameras and contact lenses. So all you got to do is blink and it captures the photo.
There you go. Or
Sony just came out with a new patent.
Or like a 360-degree paint camera or something like that. But
yeah,
just amazing.
Very cool. Very cool places on this earth, man. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Jen asks, the radial filter you were talking about, is that the same as the radial gradient?
Let me just open my Lightroom again here. Okay, so if you go into the develop module, the shortcut is Shift M. It's right beside the graduated filter and the adjustment brush if you're using Lightroom CC. And it creates a radial that can also be a radial filter that can be a gradient as well. And so what you can use that for is you can use that for making the middle brighter than everything else, but you can also reverse it and make everything else darker than the middle. But with the brightness that I see on the trees here and on the sleeve and everything like that, I think that this photo would benefit from having the middle made brighter instead of having everything else made darker.
Well, why don't you scroll up to the top? Charity just posted a second photo, and refresh that maybe, and it'll show up. There you go.
All I see is a watermark. No,
yeah, that's pretty much all I see too.
Okay, I'm not going to give you a hard time about that. I understand. That's nice. So your main subject stands out more from the background. So if I go back to here, because your main subject is actually darker than a lot of the surroundings, like this area here stands out more than your daughter, because you got a very large bright area here, a very large bright area here, right? And so that's why I was suggesting that radial filter. But here, and you've got a bit of a vignette around here that I see, which is really nice. And yeah, that's nice. I like that.
So it's funny. Christine says she likes the black and white better because the polka dots in the colored photo she finds too distracting. Which is contrast and is drawing her eye away from something to the polka dots. So there's so many different interpretations of this. And you know, again, looking at this shot, she says it's the same photo, but in color. So basically it wasn't a reverse vignette. It was a vignette that when made in black and white looked brighter, apparently. But yeah, it's interesting. I'm glad you posted that. It's neat to be able to see the difference, the difference between what happens in color and black and white. Your eye plays tricks on you in different things. It's like when I do light painting. If I shoot something in full color, it looks one way. I flip it to black and white, and you see different textures, and you see different things being enhanced by the black and white. So it's always a good exercise to look at both and see which one you prefer.
I agree.
Awesome. Thanks, Charity. Let's move along to the next shot.
Hallie Moore.
Hallie's. Yes, there we go. Okay, so Phil was looking at this one when he was in the Hangout earlier, and he said he really likes the moodiness of it and the feel. It's super soft and super contrasty, and I agree with that. I think it's a really neat shot, but I'm a little bit pulled away by the super contrasty spots in the sky.
Like up here.
Yes.
Here. It's really processed, which a lot of fantasy movies and things like that are.
Mm-hmm.
But it's really processed to the point that it's a little disjointing.
I agree. And for me, the story here is the entranceway to these gates, and I'm totally pulled away by the contrast on the top edges. I think if this were a photo I were trying to make, I'd be ecstatic with the grass and with the mood of the pillars and all of that, but I would get to that chunkiness in the sky and I'd be like, did I mean for that, or is that just an effect that happened because of the processing?
Or it could be a spider web.
Yes, it could be a spider web.
If you like do a little photoshopping and put a spider right up there, I would never look at this photo again.
Yeah, this coming from the guy who opens his front door in the morning and gets inundated with massive spiders.
Yep. Yeah, actually, right before the show, when you originally invited me, I had to reject the invitation because I was out in front of the house spraying the front door with anti-spider spray.
Oh, yuck.
Yeah, it's a wonderful thing about living half a block away from Lake Simcoe.
Yeah, well, better you than me. And Charity, yes, when we have some time, we will go back and review the photos that you posted. Obviously, she posted not for the challenge per se, but yeah. Okay, she says, could you zoom in more? She loves this structure. Now, unfortunately, Gabriel can't.
For some reason.
But I can, and I will. So, I did. There you go. So that's zoomed in on the pillars and so on. Zoom out there a bit and zoom back in. So there's like weird stuff over here as well. I'm kind of curious what that is.
I think that's, this was, it looks like it was processed in some type of HDR processing software.
Now, sorry, go ahead.
All right.
I was just going to say, I just noticed when I zoomed in, this right here. It says, I loved you.
Oh, where? Oh.
Right on the front.
I loved you.
Past tense. Now,
that's awesome.
Totally lost when you're looking at the overall photo. It's not until I zoomed in that I noticed that. Which is really awesome. Where is this taken? This is really neat. Anyway, maybe Cherry or maybe Hallie could let us know about that.
I am so going to just go and write that on things and then take pictures of it.
I loved you?
Yeah, that's cool.
You're so weird.
No, but it's so powerful.
Okay, so Charity's actually asking, is this something where you should zoom in more, or would zooming in take away from the photo? That would be a different photo, and I think it would help in this case because I want to see that I loved you. I don't necessarily want to see the trees around the edge.
I think so if you did like a 16:9 and you cropped in like around here, you don't have to have the entire structure.
Sorry, Mark actually commented for his wife, and he says, "Nope, combination of solarization, Gaussian blur, eye of newt, and tongue of dog." Is what created.
Well, there you go.
That's awesome.
Now we have the secret.
I was taken at Guildwood Park. Thank you. That's really cool. I got to go check that out. It's a really neat place.
Google in that.
Guildwood Park. Charity says, it's absolutely beautiful. Would love to use that as a backdrop with my daughter in a princess outfit. There you go. Great, getting great ideas from other people's shots here.
That is a Toronto park.
Check it out, guys. Guildwood.
Down by the lakeshore.
Thanks, Mark. Thanks for sharing that. And
Cool.
Let's move along. Check out the next photo. Now, Mark shared a photo. He says, just for fun, not for consideration. Dewdrop Fairy Fantasy. I love the fact that this is the water droplet refraction, and it's going up, not down. So it's like it's been spun upside down. But he's got a little fairy inside there, and so often we're seeing pictures of flowers inside the droplet of water these days. I believe Hallie and Mark did the Don Komarechka water droplet macro session. Maybe just Hallie, I don't know. But this technique is something that Don teaches quite often. In fact, on our session on June the 12th at Don's place, we're going to be doing some of the water droplet stuff as well. So that's something I'm looking forward to. I haven't done the water droplet stuff yet. Have you?
I have not yet, no.
Yeah, it's really neat, but it's a neat spin. Mark, thanks for posting it. And since it's not for consideration and we are already about 15 minutes over our time, why don't we break away?
I just want to know how I got the fairy to stay still that long. I could never get them to stay still that long.
Good question. Maybe he'll enlighten us down the road on that. Speaking of down the road, see that segue?
Down the alley.
Down the alley. This is a really neat shot. Emil posted this just before the show, actually 3 minutes after we started the show. So technically it doesn't really, he's disqualified, isn't he? Oh, Jennifer went with Hallie. Okay, Jennifer and Hallie went to Don's class. That's very cool, though. Yeah, no, not good night. We're still talking. So Emil is one of the students who I taught at the McMichael Art Gallery camp. So young man, loving photography and contributing to the photo challenges. Thank you so much for that, man. It's awesome to see. This is a really cool, moody photo. Compositionally, it's got leading lines that draw you to the center. There's mood and there's story being told. The reflections on the stone up the center of the laneway are really interesting. And even the texture on the walls. You know, it's really dark and contrasty, but you can see the brickwork with the reflections from the light. Really cool shot. What do you think, Gabriel?
Yeah, I like it. In his comment, he says, we interpret the shot we want to capture. We have a fantasy of how we want it to turn out. This photo came out exactly as planned. So this is his fantasy come true. Very cool. Mine are slightly different, but...
Yeah, but yours aren't fit for public viewing, so...
This is, I like this. And it's a cool alley because it's got the... whatever that barrier is up there, so it sort of encapsulates the alley in a sort of small little window. It kind of reminds me of like Daredevil. I don't know if you're watching the Netflix TV show Daredevil.
It's probably on my list of favorites.
Yeah, all right. You'll get to it in about 15 years.
That's true because I haven't started watching it yet.
But just sort of Hell's Kitchen, sort of a confined city area. Yeah, it's pretty neat. I like that. And I'm glad that it turned out exactly how we wanted it to because so few of my photos do.
What's even better, though, he did this with his Samsung cell phone.
Oh, really?
Yes, sir. It's right there in the XF info. the Samsung G920W8, which means something to somebody, not to me, but it's a cell phone.
Well, I mean, if you were up with popular culture, then you would obviously know that that's the Samsung Galaxy S6.
Which you've just Googled to find out, I'm sure.
What is this Google you speak of?
Okay, so just one quick sidetrack here. Rickson says that, there's some cool stuff there. You may need to pay to photograph there. And Charity says that Guildwood Park is by the Bluffs.
Okay.
Yeah, it's worth checking out. And you know what? Sometimes, just sometimes, you should just walk through there with a camera and see how it works out.
Well, okay, so there's been, if you go on Petapixel, there's been stories of park rangers or janitors or, people that just work in parks threatening photographers that are shooting personal projects with DSLRs because they're shooting with DSLRs and not their phones. And so there's a lot of conflicting information. As far as I know, on the follow-ups on Petapixel, if you're shooting a personal project, you don't need a permit to shoot in any Toronto park whatsoever. But if you're shooting a wedding or something with multiple people, then yes, you do need a permit. But you can also decide whether that's a battle you want to fight or not.
There you go. And just for Jennifer, who's watching, thought Dixie would want to say hello. There you go. She likes to chill up on my shoulders during the show sometimes. All right.
Well, thanks for making me feel sad and.
Yes, I know. Go grab your box of your cat. There it is. Yes, but your cat can't be a scarf. That would just be
but
weird.
Mine doesn't use the kitty litter anymore.
Ooh,
but you're using the kitty litter in the sky, aren't you?
Oh, yes, my God. I can't believe we're going here right now. Okay. Cherry's actually going to email the park and ask, which is pretty cool. And Mark says, I didn't pay nothing.
I've been following a lot of those stories. Do go to Petapixel and do a search for Kicked Off the Beach for shooting photos. And it's about a Canadian Toronto photographer who was doing a personal project with a professional model at sunrise, and some janitor came by that was changing the garbage and threatened to call the bylaw officers because obviously he was a professional because he had a flash and a DSLR and a reflector. And as much as this guy is like, no, this is just a personal project. This is a friend of mine and I'm taking pictures of her. And he threatened to call the cops and everything like that. So when he called the bylaw office, basically he called 5 times and got a different answer every single time.
Nice.
So it's all pretty much up in the air.
That's never cool. I hate that. It's like getting passport photos. Sometimes they pass through and sometimes they're not.
Yeah.
Anywho. Okay, so this is getting a little creepy. Jennifer says, Gabe's cat, spee for Gabe's cat. That's
what does that mean?
She's all excited to see your cat.
Oh.
There it is. Happiness ensues. Jen says she thinks you only need a photo permit if you're shooting there professionally, i.e. with clients, or if you intend to sell prints. I think that's just what you said. Yeah. And Mark, love the way he says it. Homie, don't pay.
Homie, don't pay.
Homie, don't pay.
They can charge me, but they got to catch me first.
Yeah, right. So there's still another photo, isn't there?
I don't think so. No, that's it.
Don Hennessy posted a photo.
What? But no. Well, it was 14 minutes ago. He's disqualified.
Yeah, well, not just that.
No, that's a good photo. Okay, I'll requalify him. I like that.
April 24th is actually technically right on time. Very cool. So it's not quite disqualified, but it is quite late.
I like that photo.
Why does Dixie bite my shoulder the way she does?
Because I'm not going there. Okay.
She just sits there and bites my shoulder. Now she's looking at the screen. Very weird.
Because cats are evil.
Sorry, Don. Okay, so first of all, I just got to say I love Don's photography. I think he's got an amazing vision, great creativity.
It's a great photo.
This is very awkward. There's Dixie's butthole right beside my head right now. This is very okay. Thank you. Bye-bye.
All
right.
See? Cats are awful.
Interesting things you see when you stay watching our show to the very end. Okay. Don says he is
show to the very end.
I know, right? We're still here too. Don says he is disqualified. I am not going to say you're disqualified. It's okay. You're still
no. This is a great. But this is like the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe type stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Man, this is like you spread apart the fur coats and you walk through and there's like this weird tunnel of darkness, and then as it opens up, this is what you see on the other side.
He's got a great quote there as well. I'm horrible at reading quotes sometimes, but this goes, "Rejoice with glitters of ashes tonight, sparkling for moon's spiced silver bite. Upon skin of darkness, loving night more, storm begins unlocking cold wind's door." That's from Munia Khan, if I said that right. Very cool quote. Don, I love your creativity. I just love how you see the world. The shot is really interesting, great detail. Gabriel said it best. I mean, it's got that mood, it's got that vibe. Beautiful, nice and lush. And thank you for sharing it with us. And if you could tell us where it was taken, that would be really cool. Even Jennifer asked, because that's a really neat spot. All right.
And as we all know, Munia Khan is the author of Beyond the Vernal Mind, which has a 5-star rating on Goodreads. So, catch up on your pop culture there, Brian.
I know, right? The nerve. And, when you do a Google search, it just so happens that the first thing it says is Munia Khan is the author of Beyond the Vernal Mind on Goodreads. So the fact that you know exactly the first thing that pops up on Google search, I am very impressed.
I'm like an organic Google.
An organic Google. That's good. And it's so true. All right, dude. So, Don, thank you. You're the best.
Thank you.
Really appreciate you. And I don't know if you remember the poster that Don made for us a few years back for Halloween with the creepy old house with all the scary ghosts in the windows and like pictures of us all buried in the photo and stuff. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Love that. I have that up. That's a cool photo. So anyway, that's cool stuff. Now we have to issue the top 3. Oh, he says it's in Furnace San Miguel in the Azores. There you go. Sometimes you just got to travel to some cool places. I haven't done that. Not in a long time. But, yeah, we'll do that. Okay. We have some winners to give out. What do you think, Gabe? I know, we've talked about it. I'll cover that.
I'm doing a Google search for Furnace Senegal, and it just pulls up blast furnace gas suppliers in Senegal. So I'm not going to be able to pull a. Well, of
everybody
course,
knows.
That's in blah blah blah.
Okay, so we've got our top 3 photos of this week, and there were actually more photos than I thought there were. It was cool to talk about them, and thank you everybody who submitted photos for our photo challenge. It's been a fun week. Gabe, can you do me a favor and just fill in where I'm at in the notes here?
Oh, if you know next week's challenge?
There you go. Because this week's challenge for fantasy was so fun. I'm going to let Gabriel pick next week's challenge for the photo theme for the photo challenge. And that would be great if he could do that because I'm stumped. And don't use
stump. I will do that as soon as you announce the winners for this
Fantastic.
Week.
And if you're going to screen share
myself time.
If you could screen share or if maybe I'll do the screen share of
who
we, because that'll just make it easier for everyone involved. Let's do screen share of this and show everybody. Okay, so we've picked the top 3 photos, and the top 3 photos this week are in third place. We have picked. Wait a second, not that one. Where is it? Hang on. Oh, there we are. Ready? For that, we're picked Emil's photo for third place. Well done, Emil. Good job for you, buddy. Yeah, this is real talent to be able to scroll.
Yeah, you're like multi-switching.
Sound effecting and everything. Okay. Thank you, Emil. You are third place this week, and you get 2 points for your photo challenge point for the winners board. And don't forget, guys, we're giving away a $350 Daytripper photo gift certificate. We're giving away a bunch of lens pen stuff for first, second, third place prizes. So there's always cool things and good reasons to keep on submitting photos for our photo challenges. This is the second quarter, but the first week in the second quarter. So everybody's on an even playing field at this point. So 2 points can go a really long way. Keep on submitting, Emil. And who knows, dude, you may be able to win the grand prize. Second place this week goes to there we are, Christine Small. We love the photo. We love the story, Christine, and thank you so much for submitting it. We understand the situation of editing it on your TV instead of a monitor. The saturation didn't really kill the mood for us. It's just a comment that we gave as something to think about. So well done. Congratulations, and thank you. All right, now we're on to the first place prize. In first place, Random Gong. I had nothing to do with it.
Sounds like a city, Random Gong.
I bet there's good urban exploration there, but now I'm scrolling really badly. So this next winner of the photo challenge and 6 points, it's too late, goes to Blake Zimmerman. Well done, Blake. Good job. This is the photo that we picked. Love it. And the only comment that was made in a negative aspect by Phil was the watermark. So you can talk to him about that. Yeah, I know. Big watermark in the bottom corner. But that's okay. I like his watermark, actually. Blake, you're the man. I don't care what anybody says. Yay! So first, second, third place goes from third for Emil, second for Christine, and first place was Blake. That's 6, 4, and 2 points, respectively. Congratulations, guys. Good work. And keep up the good work for our next week's photo challenge. Christine says, guys, that means the world to me. So happy you like the story. Congrats all. Absolutely. Love the story.
No, it's a great story. And it reminds me of, I have a friend of mine that grew up, and I was actually just telling this story to somebody recently. As kind of a macho guy, right? And he'd always throw out the insults. It's like, oh, dude, you throw like a girl, or you hit like a girl, or you run like a girl. And now he's grown up and he has a daughter, and he sees the impact that can have and stuff, and he's totally changing his complete perspective on that and stuff. And you saw back in the Olympics when the women won the gold in hockey. And the whole internet was like, okay, come on, guys, play like girls.
Yeah.
Right. And, they're just so amazing, such amazing talent and performance on the world stage, and so underappreciated. I'm frustrated with the world right now in a big way. I think humans are really disappointing me in a lot of ways. One is their sexist comments and racial comments and you know what? Trump. Ugh. Really? You just totally ruined my entire night. I've got the Google app on my Google Chrome that every time the word Trump comes up, it says Trump, his actual real last name. Yes.
Yes. Not a fan. Anyway, I'm just very disappointed in humankind, and the majority of that is because of Donald Trump. No, it's not.
I was reading on the In Your Town Keswick Facebook page today. Somebody went to drop their son off at swimming lessons, and when they came home, somebody had stolen their screen door. Like, they came up with a screwdriver and stole their screen door on their house.
Who does that?
Oh, God.
You're like, come on, humans. Anyway, that's why I surround myself with the Daytripper photo community, because it's really cool. I love everybody in our community. And, Gabe and I were hanging out at the loft earlier today and just looking out the window at Main Street. And it's so awesome having a space in this historic 140-plus-year-old street with such significance, connecting the United States and the Great White North for so many years, which is why it's called New Market. I just love it, love it, love it. I love your photo challenge that you've chosen here, Gabriel, and that kind of directly leads to that whole vibe. Before we get to it, though, Google obviously gets their information from Gabe, is what Jennifer says. So, instead of you looking up Google's, they just tap into your brain somehow, and they know.
Gabriel doesn't roll off the tongue as easily, so they went with Google, but
Good point. Congratulations, everyone, Andrew says. And he saw that too, Gabriel. Gotta wonder where society is going. I can tell you where society is going, but you don't want to hear it.
Statistically, it's getting better every single year. We just hear more about the bad things, so we think that it's getting worse.
I'll let you think that. Anyway, let's talk about this next week's challenge and then peace out for the night, because you've got a kid that wakes up in a few hours. So
yeah.
So Gabriel, why don't you go for it?
So right now there's a big debate going on because there's a large portion of the population that want to change one or two aspects of the Canadian national anthem. And most of the people that I've engaged in discussion about this are of the, it's fine the way it is. We should just keep it the way it is until they actually do some research on it and then realize, maybe it's a good idea that we change it. So it's been a discussion that I've been having ongoing for the last few days, and has, I'm, as some of you know, I'm Métis, so I'm Native Canadian. As I like to say, my people were here before the white man came and ruined everything. So I have a real connection with Canada, and it's been an interesting discussion about a lot of people discussing about, what it is to be Canadian. So this week's theme, or this section's theme, is Canada, and just whatever that means to you.
It's funny. I love Canada. I've lived in the States. Yeah, I've lived in New England, Massachusetts, Connecticut, Vermont. I've been beat up for being Canadian, living in Connecticut and Massachusetts. I've been teased every time I've you're Canadian. Blah, blah, blah,
you live in igloos the entire time.
And I've actually been kicked out of class for not singing the American national anthem. I've always been proud to be Canadian, even when I lived there. So I love the challenge, and it means something different to everybody. But I'll tell you, if there's one place to live in the world that respects its people and does its best, I know humans are humans, and there's stupid politicians and there's stupid rules and laws and so on. But I think in general, we're pretty respectful toward each other in general. And in the way that the world is today, I think there's a lot to be said for that. So really interested to see how people interpret this challenge. And it's simply Canada.
As I got stuck the other day in what I call a Canadian traffic jam, where there was 3 people going in one door and 1 person coming out. And we were stuck there for about 25 seconds going, no, you first. No, you first. No, I insist. No, you, sir. No, you, ma'am. No, you go first. And finally I yelled, this is a Canadian traffic jam. And everybody laughed. And that was at Coffee Culture in Bradford. It was
I thought you were going to say it was at Walmart, although I know you better than that.
I will not darken the door of a Walmart with my shadow. Nope.
And it's funny because in the States at a Walmart, if that were to happen, you'd have several people just running through the mass, just get out of my
firearms. Yeah, I just feel like, if I'm not saying haters. Go ahead, it's because I'm reloading.
We're haters. We've lost all our viewers now. So. Let's just say goodnight and see everybody next week. Oh, yes, no, we will not see you next week. Don't forget. Next week, the show is in hiatus because of the Vaughan Film Festival activities. The week after that, we're going to be doing our tips and techniques show on tripods, and it should be a lot of fun. Gabriel, thank you, sir, for being here tonight.
Thanks for having me.
Always a pleasure.
Sorry for all of this.
I really don't know what you mean by that. But anyway, thanks everyone for watching. I hope you have a great week, and we'll see you in 2 weeks. Take care. Don't forget the photo challenge, Canada. Bye.
Bye.